Hello and welcome everyone to another Northgard patch note review on this channel. But before we start into the patch notes, I just want to share one little news and one little announcement with you guys. So let's start off here with a little bit of bad news actually, since I get asked quite often when the Kraken clan will now release. So for everyone who didn't know yet, there were a fire in the center of Bordeaux that also caught the headquarters of Shiro Games, and therefore all the incoming patches were postponed for indefinite time. So if you want to know more about the situation and you want to be updated about it, I would suggest you to go into your official Northgard Discord and you can see a few messages about that, and I guess that Shiro Games, as soon as they will be working again in their offices, will announce that in the Northgard Discord also. The other announcement would be that I would like to make an AMA on this channel, so if you have any questions about me, this channel or Northgard, just leave them down below this video, maybe with a little mark on it that it is for the AMA. That would be really nice, so I know that it's just for that. And yeah, feel free to leave the questions, and if we get enough questions together, I would love to make a video about it and answer them. And since we got those both things out of the way, let's not lose any time and just jump right into the patch notes of the new Northgard balancing patch. And here we are right in the patch notes. I'm actually really happy that I can present them here to you, because I didn't thought that Shiro would be able to actually push them because of the coincidence in the office that early, but yeah, they actually made it happen, and I'm quite stoked that I can present them to you right here, so let's just jump right in here. And we're starting in with the Clan of the Stack, actually one of my favorites right here. At first, food preservation got changed, and the food production for an unupgraded silo got upgraded to +3, and of an upgraded silo got upgraded to +5, or rather buffed. An even more interesting change, however, is the change to Glory of the Clan. Gives you +20% fame on all of your fame gains. I think that didn't actually change at all. And all your production gets +1% per 100 fame. And this is actually a big change, because it will give the Stack clan a quite good economy there. And even with the bonus that you will get for your Jarl bonus, it stacks just up to a really good economy right there. And I think it could really get the Stack clan a little bit ahead right there. But I guess this gotta be determined, because a lot of players also are playing the Clan of the Raven right now, that we're gonna get in later. The value of Great Deeds lore will now give you a free Skald upgrade that will also just take half the time to forge. This is quite interesting, will help quite a bit. I always like to go for value of Great Deeds rather a little bit later into the game. I know that you can also do a lot with it when you go already early for it and maybe combine it with a harbor or something. But I think this change definitely adds a little bit of spice to the lore, and maybe lets me pick it also a lot more in the early game. The Hall of Skulls, however, got a little bit of a nerf there, now adding 40 gold to the building cost, what is not too much of a problem for the stack, since I feel like at this phase of the game where you're gonna get the Hall of Skulls, I usually have a little bit of gold left, but it is of course gold that you wouldn't have needed to produce in the older versions with the Stack clan. It is of course a nerf. I just think that it's not the worst timing to pay that gold for the Stack clan, and maybe the buff is actually a little bit better timed, because in later game I think the all production bonus of a few percent can give you a lot more than the little bit of a nerf in the early game to have the Hall of Skulls cost a little bit more, but we gotta see how it plays out. The last thing is the bug fix, because the Skull tools didn't actually improve the gold production correctly. Now they will, and yeah, we gotta see how strong that can now actually play out. So those were the stack changes. I think in summary, definitely more of a buff than a nerf here, just a little change for the Hall of Skulls right there, and I think the Clan of Stack will definitely look a little bit better after the patch. Let's jump right into the Clan of the Goat right here, that I think in my opinion got a little bit more of a nerf. Starting in with Sheep Herd, that will now replace Cooking Mastery, that weren't too much of a taken lore for myself at least. That will now give you 2 free sheep and plus 10% sheepfold production. I think this is not a nerf, of course. This is quite a good change and I really like it, and it will definitely lead me to think a lot more about going in this tree with the Goat clan. The starting bonuses got changed, so the Clan of the Goat will now get a 20% feast bonus instead of a 30% feast bonus, so you can already see a little bit of a debuff there. But the really big thing is of course the sheepfold change, because upgrading the sheepfold will now increase its production by 20% instead of 50%. This is quite a big hit for the Goat clan, because it could just mass up insane amounts of food with a lot of sheepfolds and upgrade them, and yeah, just have like 9 sheeps working. This is already an insane amount of food right there. Like, the goat clan will not look bad in food. That's like, don't get me wrong on that. It will still be one of the strongest clan in food because it just has the sheeps that work in addition to the villagers right there. I just think it won't be that insane anymore, and I think it's a really good change. And for late game goats, it were always quite insane how much food it were actually able for them to mass together if the right amount of sheeps were there. So I think this change definitely hits the right spot there. The goat clan now a little bit more nerfed right there. And I think even if you're a goat player, you shouldn't feel too bad about it, because sheep herd is a pretty nice lore that I think can be a nice addition to a lot of builds there. So let's check out the changes for the clan of the wolf right here. First, the starting bonus is changed, where at first you will not have to pay for the first military unit that you recruit anymore. Of course, your war chief is excluded, because that would be a little bit too much to ask for, but already having the first military unit for free opens up a lot of different ways to clear out stuff. Like, for example, you can get an axe thrower to clear out the Draugr camp now for free, basically. You don't need to pay the gold anymore, and you can get more warriors at the start to clear out stuff. So it's just a lot of creativity that can go around there, and I think it's quite cool for the wolf clan and quite a neat buff there. Also, the happiness generation for the wolf clan got changed, so you will get 1 happiness for your first warrior, and then it will get less and less. Like before, you got for 2 warriors you got 1 happiness, so 0.5 per warrior, and were a set amount. Now it will gradually get less and less. I can't really say if a huge army will now actually lead you in a good amount of happiness there. Like, usually you could easily do that with the wolf clan. At the start you had a little bit of problems because the first warriors didn't really give you enough happiness to really keep your people happy right there. I think at the start you will now feel a little bit better, and I could imagine that at the end of the game, like when you have a really big amount of army running around with your field rations, that you will actually need to add a brewer there, but I can't actually say right now, and yeah, we will see in game. Also, there were a huge change to veiled threats, and that can really play out good for the wolf clan here in my opinion, because you will get plus 75% on your trade routes when you have a berserker, but you will actually get plus 150% onto that trade routes when you have the berserker in the same tile as the trade route that is just running. So I think the wolf clan has now a huge potential to get a lot of gold from neutrals around them, or to just trade with their allies, and I think this is really something that the wolf clan can use, especially in team games, because sometimes it can be problematic for the wolf clan to really generate the gold later on in the game. But maybe the veiled threats is now actually a little bit of a doorstep for the wolf clan to get a really healthy gold economy, even though that the upgrades for them are not as strong as for the other clans. You can now also trade while at war with the wolf clan. That means that you can also use it and maybe trade a little bit with your opponent in a duel right there. Can't really imagine in what situations that could help you, but of course there are oftentimes situations where you just have a little bit of iron laying around that you don't really need anymore, and if you can just trade that over to your opponent to get a little bit of bonus gold to maybe have that extra warrior that could win you the fight, could really make the difference here for the wolf clan in my opinion. So a really nice change. With that, we're gonna go to the infamous clan of the Raven that is really played a lot right now. At first it will be negotiators that will be replacing trading right there. At first you will get plus 3 gold production, I think with trading it would be just plus 2, and you will get plus 20% commercial influence for your trading routes right there. What really makes the Raven clan now one of the strongest clans for the trading wins, but there will be even more things that makes it suitable for that. Because it will allow you to get trading routes and a lighthouse, and your lighthouse will be for free, so you won't need to pay anything for your lighthouse anymore. That is basically just 100 gold for free. That is, when you are rushing onto a trading win, quite an important amount of gold, and I think could give the Raven clan a really good chance to win on trade on a lot of free-for-alls right there, maybe even a little bit through the back door right there with Bragaful. There will also a change on gear upgrade, so it will not depend on your gold amount that you have anymore, and rather on the amount of merchants and sailors that you have active at that point. For every one of those you will get plus 1 attack power and plus 1 resistance. I think in general it really should be a good buff, and in my opinion will be a lot more useful than the gear upgrade before, because if you had a really good game going on, a toe-to-toe game going on, how often will you really have huge amounts of gold laying around? That won't be that often, but you will at least have like 5 sailors still sailing, or maybe even 6, or maybe even more with the change that now comes later in. Because not only the starting bonuses for the Raven clan got changed, so upgrading in harbor and will give you plus 20% exploration speed, that will end up in a quite good amount of speed right there. And you will now generally get plus 10 better production from merchants and sailors, so the Raven clan seems now really be down to the trading win, because you can just mass up good amounts of gold with the Raven clan. So with the Jarl upgrade, the Raven clan now will get mercenaries, and you can assign an additional sailor to all of your harbors. And this is really a great change. It will of course drive you a little bit back to the sailors there, even though this Raven clan can have strong mercenaries. Like, if you have the chance, you wanna of course go for the sailors then, because just having an additional one in there. So counting all the bonuses together, you will get sailors for the Raven clan. I think they are really the way to go here. And now I really guess that if you have at least 2 shores, that it could actually be enough to just have your sailors right there. So 8 sailors, I guess, should be enough production to keep your gold high enough. Maybe you will need to add a few merchants right there in longer games, but it's now really a lot better than before. And I guess the Raven clan now definitely one of the stronger clans. Must say, really good buffs right there. I just realized that I forgot a little change about the Raven clan that also weren't noted in the patch notes right here, because you will now pay a little bit more for your raids when you already have an active army. So if you are with 15 warriors in front of your opponent and you then want to send a raid to just tank the tower, it will definitely be a lot more expensive right now. I can't tell you what the exact numbers were. I think it is like 10 gold per unit that you have on the field. Don't nail me down on that, that could be a little bit wrong, but you will pay a little bit of extra gold right there. Going down to the Clan of the Bear, actually a quite easy change right there, but a little bit of a nerf of course for all the bear players. Because the Clan of the Bear doesn't start with Kasha anymore, and she costs 40 gold to recruit. I already said in the first stream where I played that I don't think it's actually too bad. Like, I think 40 gold in the early game is way easier to pay than the 75 food. Later on, it maybe makes a little bit of a change. I guess in the real late game, when you have upgraded farmers and all the upgrades, it should be way easier to actually get 75 food. But in the early game, I think it actually helps you a little bit to get the bear earlier out. You will have problems to get 2 warriors on top of that if you have no ruin or shipwreck around you. But in general, I don't think it's that much of a nerf than it sounds at the start. Like, in my game, I didn't feel too bad with the bear clan still. I could still do my usual thing. It were, of course, at the start a little bit slower. In team games, you will most likely need to pay the gold. You cannot go around the bear. I think you can even think about that when you play a single player game, while it is still really good to have that bear that doesn't eat something and can just clear out everything right there. Maybe with an additional warrior around that just to clear out a lot of stuff. So you don't lose the bear at the early game, you just don't get it that early anymore. And let's be honest, oftentimes it just stood around at that time. If you were about to add the warriors right there, like if you were just clearing out with the bear there, I think also then, like, you will do it a little bit later. You will need to get to your war camp right then. You cannot cut out the war camp anymore at some situations, but still, I don't think it's too bad of a change for the bear clan. It's yet still playable and yet still strong. With that said, let's jump into the Clan of the Bohr right here and change to Herbalism. That will give each active member now a 70% production bonus in case of a 5% bonus before, and 20% healing speed. And for me, the healing speed is actually quite interesting. And yeah, in combination, of course, with the effect that were given before, I never really thought that only the production bonus were worth actually going for it. Now having it a little bit bigger makes it of course more interesting right here, but also having the healing speed on top I think makes it more of an interesting choice right here. Also given that all the healing in Northgard will take a little bit of a hit, but we also gonna go later on into that. There will also a change to Lay of the Land that will now not only give you a minus 70% frequency of attacks of wolves and daggers, that were already quite nice, but not too crazy of a bonus of course. course. It will now also give you a 10% production bonus on forests, swamps and shores. I'm quite sure that shall mean. Yeah, I think this is quite a nice change, gives a good economy bonus there on lay of the land, and I think also makes it a lot more interesting to go for a strong economy there, maybe in combination even with handiwork in the early strong economy without too much upgrades. I could imagine something like that. I didn't play it just right now, so yeah, I'm up for a surprise right there, and I think that the Bohr clan could actually perform a lot better with that. Also, osmosis got changed, so each zone gives you now some happiness. Just forests, swamps and shoals give you triple happiness. I think shoals above here could also actually mean shoals. Maybe I'm just... Give me 1 second. So shoals means fish, so they mean the tiles where you have fish in there. So yeah, I knew the effect before, I just didn't know the word before. So yeah, and the tile itself, it didn't change. It will still be forest, swamps and tiles with fish on there. But now you will get happiness for every zone. So osmosis will be a lot stronger right now. And I heard from a lot of people that the Bohr clan is good to play right now. And I think it could be out of the combination, out of the 3 laws, of course. I think lay of the land on osmosis doing the bigger part right there, because they seem to be getting a big buff right here. Would be interesting to know how much happiness you will now actually get for each zone. Like if it's only 1 happiness, that's already something, right? I could imagine that it's actually a little bit less, because 1 happiness would be quite a lot actually. But even if it would be just 0.5, it's already a good buff right there. And the Bohr clan is always like quite spreaded, and you have a quite spread economy, in my opinion, more than with the other clans. Like with the Stag clan, I would feel myself a lot better on a 5 tile or 6 tile build than I would with a Bohr clan. So I think a really good buff for the Bohr clan here, and maybe really getting it back into the 1v1 meta right there. Going in with the Clan of the Snake right here. First with an addition to Stone and Lore. So to Stone and Lore you will now also get the Draconic Frenzy of the Dragon clan. And the Ancestral Influence of the Horse clan. I don't know if it were already in there before, but it is now also in there. I'm quite sure that it weren't before in there, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, those both are now also in there. And if you ask yourself what will Draconic Frenzy bring to the Snake clan, we will do a little cheat right here and go just 1 quick time down here to the Dragon clan and check out the new Draconic Frenzy, because that so we can understand how the lore will actually work on the Snake clan right here. Because their military units will gain plus 50% if they fight alone in the tile, so it doesn't only count to Dragonkins now anymore. And the frenzy isn't limited to Dragonkin anymore, right? That's what I just said, so you won't get yeah, it isn't bounded to 1 military unit there anymore. And now just imagine having Signy alone in a tile right there. And yeah, I think you now can imagine how good this lore can now be for the, for the Snake clan there actually, because a late game Signy can be very, very hurtful right there. She will also get another buff right here, giving her 2 times better resistance when she scorches the earth. So when she's using scorched earth, she won't be that vulnerable anymore. And I think this is a really good change, and it makes it a lot more viable to go for it. And maybe even trying to go for it in the middle of a fight and running into the middle of the tile. Maybe even pulling the warriors over so you can make the damage onto the warriors as long they're trying to get the damage onto your Signy. Maybe just trying to make it as a fake or something. Like there are a lot of ways that open with that, and I think that's a really interesting change right there. Also, the Rapicious Exploitation will give you +2 happiness for every ruin and shipwreck, like it did before. The Special Zone bonus is doubled, I think that also just like before. And Scout can explore ruins and wrecked ships in uncolonized tiles. I think that's a super cool change, man. I think that's really cool. I will have a lot of fun trying this out, and will definitely play around a little bit with Rapicious Exploitation. Maybe there's something dirty you can do there in a rush play right there. I'm not all too sure. It is definitely in the right tree with the trading tree, so it will take a little bit too long, I think, to actually get a super early rush out. But it's just, it seems like a kind of dirty lore. It seems really fitting for the Snake clan. So I really enjoyed having it there. I think a really nice addition. So jump down to Dragon Clan here, that we already saw before a little bit of, but also yeah, there were a little change to the starting bonuses right here, because when you get a Dragonkin, it is entirely healed up. So oftentimes with the Dragon Clan you will have low villagers because you don't really care about healing them up, because why would you, like, you sacrifice them, and now you can also get them as Dragonkins. So many ways now for the Dragon Clan to not care about healing his villagers, like also you won't get any debuffs, so why would you even care about that? But I think it's really nice change, and in really heated situations I oftentimes like hoped that something like this may come. I didn't actually saw that coming, but it is a nice change right there, and I will enjoy playing that out. The second change were of course the Draconic Frenzy lore change. I don't think we need to go too deep in that, like get the same thing like before too, but yeah, it doesn't only work on Dragonkins. The capture lore got changed a little bit, so enslaved Murkalfars now only take up 2 spots, and giants take 4 spots, and I think this is quite cool change. Now we can get a few more giants right there, and maybe make the capture lore like something that is really viable. Like, I didn't saw people doing that all too often in really heated matches. It would be nice to see though. It won't be that easy to actually enslave giants, but it would be quite cool. I think most of the games you will just have 2 on that tile, so it will be the maximum amount you can go for. But I think there are actually games where you can have 3. I'm not all too sure about that. I think if you play on high difficulty that should be a possibility, but maybe I'm again wrong with that. But this is a nice change and maybe makes capture a little bit more viable right there. I like that. Also, the Dragonkins AoE got changed, and it has been increased from 70 to 80%. So yeah, we also all have quite fear of Dragonkin armies in the late game, but like it weren't actually too bad, right? There were definitely some fights where you could think, my god, those Dragonkins are really cleaning up the floor right now. But if you see through the meta right here, it's not like everyone is rocking the Dragon Clan and the Dragonkins are doing the work for everyone. It's actually not that easy to get the win with the Dragon Clan right there, and I think it could be a good help for the Dragon Clan also, with a lot of other clans getting a little bit of a buff right here and a few other clans already being ahead of it, that the Dragonkins get a little bit of a change there, because yeah, they're the only unit the Dragon Clan can actually go for, and therefore would be nice if they would definitely work out when you need them. So a few nice little buffs here for the Dragon Clan. Let's see what the Horse Clan has to offer. At first there will be a War Chief stats modification, so their attack power is lowered from 13 to 12 and their health is decreased from 75 to 70. I can also say I played yesterday a horse game and I were still able to clear out a Valkyrie with both of the War Chiefs. That's maybe not too crazy, but I think that's a good way to imagine how strong they still are. They weren't both completely fully healed up, but they were still able to get the Valk down with quite a few damage though, but still, like, it is still possible to clean a little bit up with those War Chiefs, and it doesn't feel too bad. Like, the numbers already suggest that the buff weren't too crazy. It will just get them leveled a little bit more with the other clans and not have too many of those strong War Chiefs right there. I think that's a good change though. The other change will be to excavation. So each War Chief mining stone or iron earns now +3, and if you have metalcraft you will get +5. This is a good change because the Horse Clan just made way too much lore from the excavation. Maybe this is even still a little bit too less, I'm not completely sure about that, but just right now I felt it were quite good still. Like, I didn't have too much problems to get my lore up with the Horse Clan. Maybe it is still too much, I can't really say that, but I've always enjoyed playing the Horse Clan. I still enjoy playing it yet, so this nerf I don't think hurt it all too much. If it now got a little bit more leveled with the other clans, it would be just great. I could just imagine that it could still be a little bit too much, because just the pure lore economy that you will get from the from mining your stone and iron, really, I don't really need to think anymore about having the lore master working for all the time. Sometimes I think about getting it off. It's just about me wanting to get the Yord's Blessing quite early that I go for that. So it's gotta be pended out. I don't know. I think it still remains yet playable, and if that would already be enough, that would be really great. So the Wars clan remains really playable in my opinion then, and being leveled with the other clan. If it would still be a little bit too strong in the opinion of some players, I could also understand that, but I think this is also something that really gotta show in the next weeks how strong the Horse clan actually got hit by this change. But really nice change. I think it hit really like the perfect spot. I think this is just what the Horse clan made the Horse clan a little bit too strong. Were the excavation lore economy that you could get out of that. And also you gotta see, in the end, it's not just a -1 change, since you always have the 2 war chiefs. It's actually a -2 change, so it could actually already be enough to level out the Horse clan a little bit more. While I can just repeat myself, it felt still really good to play it. Let's jump into the general changes, starting up with a ranked games update, where the points earned depend on the map's world hostility. On high you will have no change, on medium you will get -25% of your glory points, and in low difficulty you will only get 50% of the glory points. I don't actually I'm too much of a fan about this, to be honest. I don't want to seem like a medium player that is crying about it too much, so I won't leave too much of there, but I don't really think that players that play a ranked game on medium have played less of a ranked game than players that have played a game on high difficulty. And I don't really see the problem that is being solved right there. Maybe there is something going on that players on high ranks try to get fast wins on low difficulty. I'm actually not sure what the problem is that is solved right here. I'm actually not too much of a fan about it, but I won't be too whiny about it too, because maybe there is something that I don't see in there. Also, healers and menders got changed, so the healer speed got increased by 20%. Like I said before, the healers actually got a little bit of a debuff there, so just wait for it, it will income. There were also changes to your food production, so the farmers actually got no change there. The hunters got plus 5% production, bringing them quite a bit nearer to the farmers' full production right there. And the fishermen got a plus 10% bonus on the production, general food production right there. So fishers definitely got also bumped quite a bit up. Like at first they were just a change to the fishermen, making them a little bit stronger than the hunters right there. Now the hunters actually again like a little bit stronger than fishermen. And all together to set, yeah, just to make it very clear, I would say that it doesn't make too much of a difference anymore which food you will be going for later on with the upgrades. Especially it will all ramp up to a quite significant amount, and now it really depends on what you want to do with that food. Like if you want to have food in the winter, would you want to have a good food production in the winter, or do you want to rather have a good food production in the summer right there? This should be now the most dependent thing where you should decide that on, because all the food sources now don't do too much of a difference there anymore. The Hunter's Lodge cost has been increased to 80 wood, and the Fisherman's Hut cost has also been increased to 80 wood to level that up a little bit. I think the building time were actually untouched. Also, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. So you will have a little bit of an advantage there, just having to build that a little bit quicker there. But in the end, with the food production, it shouldn't actually make too much of a difference there, and it should really depend like do you have early in the year and do you want to have food before the winter? Yeah, then get the farm and get that. Or do you want to have, do you just have just before the winter and you want to have a good food production over the winter? Then get the Fisherman's Hut. So I think that is way more the way you will decide it right now than actually saying, oh, I have a farm, it's the best, I'm gonna go for it. So yeah, interesting change right there. I don't think it's all too bad. I already heard a few players complaining there that it is a little bit more boring for them now, having the food production now a little bit sameish, but I think it's actually also getting a little bit out of frustration out of the way for games where you, for example, just started with a little bit of fish right next to you. You were quite depressed before, and I think just right now you're just gonna have a good game, so I don't think it's too bad of a thing. Also, the axe thrower's defense got changed, now increased from 3 to 4. I think quite interesting. I really always liked my axe throwers right there. They should now be a little bit more tanky. Gotta be seen how strong they actually are now, but I think we're gonna see them a lot more since you're now not gonna be punished as fast as before, since they were ultra squishy. But I think, yeah, one defense can do a lot of difference right there already, and it's gotta be seen how much axe throwers we will be seeing now. Also, the Monster Slayer lore got changed for most of the clans that actually have them. I think most of the clans have it, yeah. It will now not only give you plus 50% attack power against mystical creatures like Drawers and Valkyrs, it will also give you plus 50% XP from mystical creatures. So maybe it could even get something interesting for the Wolf clan right there, rushing onto a good military tree, whatever one you want to go for. And I guess it could definitely be a little bit more interesting and picked a lot more often. I would say that it's actually one of the lores that gets picked the least of all the lores around, even though it is always quite fun to go for it in the games where you can actually get a little bit out of it, of course, where you can actually kill a lot of Valkyrs and yeah, get a lot of bonus out of that. Maybe even when you go for the Portal of Helheim in the middle. It can be a funny lore to go for. The Hearthstone tech got also changed, so it reduces your extra firewood consumption during the winter by 50% like it did before. And it will also reduce the winter food penalty by 20%, but now makes it a little bit more interesting too. Like, I didn't take that all too often when I didn't rent for like a lore win and I had a big amount of lores anyway, and I thought like, yeah, okay, why not take that when you have a quite big economy going on anyway, and you can just have a little bit less firewood consumption right there. But now also having the reduced winter food penalty is kind of a big thing and actually makes it a quite potent tech right there. Gotta keep in mind that it's something for all clans, so I think that there will be definitely a few clans that can work quite good with it, so I think interesting change there. The last change were to the Eltrumir relic, better known as Feast relic, I would say, to most of you. It will now give you a plus 20% feast bonus instead of a plus 40%, but if you have a goat, you already have a little bit of a bonus there, of course, for him going, so that's still ramping up with each other, but yeah, it's not as strong for any clan now anymore. It will yet still reduce your cost by 50%, and your units will regenerate health while you do a feast. So that's also quite interesting. I'm not too sure if that is actually outside of your territory, so if you could actually fight and have your units healing while fighting, I think that would be a little bit strong right there. Of course, depends on how much the healing is actually going for, but in general, a quite nice change right there. Maybe you can actually skip the healers when you go for this feast relic there in a team, and nice change in general, good nerf, so not everyone is just going for this one at every game, like team game, where a team went for a relic. I think most of the time it were actually the feast relic to really get the team ahead. You can still do the same thing now, it will still get you ahead, but it's not that much anymore, and I think that's quite a good thing, because it were a little bit too strong though, and I think a really nice change there. We also have a few new features and bug fixes that I'm gonna go over a little bit quickly on now, since this video is already taking quite a little bit of time and I don't want to bore any guys of you. So let's just go through this here quite quickly and go through the most important points. At first, the Rally to War Chief button has changed. There's now a little trail with an X right there. It looks really nice, I like it. And the size of the map is now displayed in the lobby. Finally, like a lot of players were asking for that for a long time, so you don't have to play against players on the ladder that try to do it on a huge map and play weird on you. It's just a good thing to happen there, really good. And the Forge has now an icon added that allows you to see the progression of the forging item. I think that's quite helpful, always nice, so you don't need to always pop back to the Forge right there. Really enjoy that. And yeah, good change right there. Let's jump right into the bug fixes here. So here's the quite important thing, and I don't really know why this is a bug fix right here. Maybe it were actually a bug that were implemented like this into the game. Because the Healers and Menders building upgrade will not give you a 100% healing upgrade anymore. It will just give you a 20% upgrade on your healing. So we already got a 20% bonus on all healers before in this patch right here. but this change will now really change how you will go with the upgrade for your healers. Like, if you want to go for healers, you should now really go for everything what you can get, for every bonus that you can get, to get a good healing rate out of it. And if not, you should maybe really think about to just have like 2 healer sets maybe, and don't upgrade them at all, and just use them in the moments where you really need them, and otherwise just don't go for a lot of healing there. Also, your healers with medicine don't profit from silos production bonuses anymore, so you won't get any bonuses on that. Won't make any sense to get upgraded healers onto a silo tile anymore. Healers just getting a little bit less useful than they were before. Maybe actually a good change, because healers got quite of a given. You always needed to go for sailors with a lot of different clans, and it were actually quite of a change always to play with Bohr and Bohr that actually don't depend on them because of obvious reasons there. But yeah, those times are over now, and we will see how the new healers will work in the game right now, with a little bit slower healing rates, and I think with a little bit less player actually going for full healers. Also a little change to the trading system. So when you were trading stone and iron before, your trading partner couldn't see it in his income list. Now he can, so you can actually make out a little bit better how much stone and iron you will actually get from your teammate right there, and I think quite helpful change to make the trading system a little bit more understandable. Also, the horse clan deposits got changed that a few players had problems with that weren't shown to them. Like when you reach the 500 fame, the deposits that's gonna pop up on your map right there with the really pleasant sound. Yeah, those didn't show up for some people. They will now. Really cool. Mining close to Force Wrath. If a deposit was too close to Force Wrath, the player wasn't able to mine it. I didn't even knew about that, but cool that that's changed. The Horse Clan's Great Towers. The Great Towers, which are a specific Horse Clan feature, could be built by other clans. Okay, this is weird, but okay. I didn't heard about that actually, but this must have been a fun thing for the player that found out about that. A bug often only displayed invite-only games in the games list. Has that been fixed? Ah, okay, that's cool. That's cool. On MacBooks, we fixed a bug to the invite button. That's cool for MacBook users. The latest Horse Clan patch broke the chapter 10 of the campaign, especially its secret objective. It has been fixed. Oh, that's cool, that's cool. Actually didn't play through the campaign for a little while, but yeah, players that still have to play through it, it's always good that they still have an eye on that for yeah, chapters that just might break through the updates right here. And really cool, really cool. If you didn't play through the campaign now, maybe try it out. It's a really cool one. When a player created a multiplayer game, teams and clans were visually reversed after the validation of the game. This has now been fixed. Ah, okay. Really cool, really cool. Also a bug that I didn't went on that often, like didn't saw that often, but it's cool that it's fixed. So these were the patch notes for the balancing patch of Northgard. If you want to check out all those changes, you can just jump into your game and try them out, because the patch is actually live right now and you can play a little bit around with it. I want to say again that I'm really happy that I'm able to present this right here, because I weren't actually ready to have this released at this point with the coincidence happening there at Gyro Games. Like, again, much love out to them. I hope that they're doing good and that they're back on their feet soon again. I hope that you all enjoyed this video and of course the patch right here. Maybe see you back in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, maybe consider to leave a like or a subscription on this channel. Have a great day everyone, and maybe see you back in the next video. Bye bye!